Welcome to the first ever Big Fat Gay Podcast Chubby Awards. Yay. I am your co-presenter, Michael Willer, and we have a very special show for you today. And to my left, we have, returning from his battle with the flu,
Don Marshall. Yes, it is in fact me, despite the fact that I sound just a little bit like Kathleen Turner. I'm very happy to be here at the first Chubby Awards. I'm very excited to see what everyone's wearing today.
I'm Dan Oliverio. I'm a Chubby Chaser, author and public speaker, and definitely excited for the Chubbies.
Ooh, do you have a chubby for the Chubbies?
I think I might.
It had to happen, Trevor.
I know.
It was inevitable.
And to the right or left?
Left.
To the left of Dan is me, Trevor.
Who knew?
A beautiful gown designed by Christian Serrano.
Say otherwise.
So many little details in this that you are missing out on.
Yes.
I see that Dan is wearing a tux by Versace today.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm very impressed. Michael, you've decided to record completely naked today.
No, I have a zipper, but I'm not telling you where.
Oh.
It's a very realistic skin suit.
Oh, God.
We're going to be having a raffle for various audience members to come in and find the zipper.
Oh, but not.
That's how we're going to raise funds for our
Moving
next
on.
season.
No, the guy on the side is giving us the stretch symbol, so
Yeah.
we got to keep. No, it's the move along.
The stretch symbol means keep milking it?
No.
It actually does.
Take two. So our episode today is going to be a little bit different, and we decided that we have so many amazing moments in media, film, TV, live performances with fat people, and we wanted to highlight some of those that meant a lot to us over the last year, 2019. So, Trevor, do you want to tell us a little bit more about how this came about and what we're going to be doing?
Yeah, I mean, part of this was just in coming up with the podcast and looking at issues. We wanted to accentuate the positive, just because there is a lot of oh, this is terrible, or at the best so far it's been like, well, it's something, which I think will be probably, if we ever do merch, that will be one of the
It's something.
It's something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so actually we conceived to do an award show, kind of because we are in award season. This will be airing right before the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
So we have, we kind of all looked at things we enjoyed from the year, people, shows,
Musicians, live performances. Yeah. Just people who are really pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
And just because we don't bring someone up doesn't mean we don't respect their work.
Yeah.
It's just,
I think actually we'll probably post, we were going over basically everything that we could think of from the year and all. So you have a little resource guide for fat positive media. We'll list everything we were considering. And I think probably
on the website, you mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. On the website, we'll have basically a list of nominees. So we each get 2 Chubbies to hand out, maybe 3, maybe. But I think we're just going to go around and present for some
of our favorite things.
Actually,
Yes.
have one a Chubby right here.
We have one. Yeah.
I kind of
You should see it.
Oh no, I dropped it.
No. Well, but you know what? They're really sturdy. So.
Yes.
Well, they're Chubbies.
Yes.
I actually want you to splice on like a heavy thud for it when I dropped it.
So I am going to hand off to Don, our first presenter for the evening. Would you like to start us off with our first Chubby ever?
Who does Don have a Chubby for?
Or who would you like to give a Chubby to?
well, I wanted to bring up somebody who I think was brought in as maybe a bit character or supporting role in a pretty iconic series, and then really ascended to become basically the other half of the show. Titus Burgess in The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yes.
Excellent. He started off as a very sort of two-dimensional flip character of a stereotypical gay black man, I guess, and grew exponentially in every way you can imagine. He was amazing. And the level of talent that he got to display on that show is really a first in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see him not just act, but his singing, the videos they made with him were unbelievable. So getting to see a large man not only rise up and become noticeable in a show, but begin to carry the show was really a treat.
And get a love interest.
Get a serious love interest over multiple seasons with complexity to the relationship.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of that, especially not with a gay man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a gay man and a fat gay man.
Yeah.
And a fat gay black man.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's so much like about Titus that is just so amazing,
Mhm.
and so many firsts and so many things to just celebrate.
Yep.
And I feel like his character started, I mean, one of my favorite TV shows ever is 30 Rock, and he played a character on that show also named Titus, I believe, right, Trevor? And I feel like that might have been the sort of impetus for
Like
getting
the
into Kimmy
seed.
Schmidt. Yeah, like, because the show is also produced by Tina Fey, who he
Mhm.
worked with on 30 Rock, and he just had a couple guest parts. And then they came back after 30 Rock ended and gave him this supporting role. And then even from then, he worked up to being one of like the co-leads of Kimmy Schmidt, which is fantastic. And I think just really rests on his shoulders as being an amazing performer.
Yeah.
And also to the credit of the show for giving him real things to do and real
with
parts
Kimmy
to play.
Schmidt ending in 2019, I really look forward to see what else he might go move on to. I haven't seen a lot from him since then,
Mhm.
but I'm hoping that's because he's working on something big.
Yeah.
So good luck to you.
And now I don't quite remember because I've only seen the first 2 seasons of Kimmy Schmidt. Maybe I watched the last one, but they don't do fat jokes about him, do they? I don't.
It is acknowledged, and sometimes some people try and slip in slams on him.
Mhm.
But if I recall correctly, he always responds. He never lets it slide past, and he always gets the upper hand, which was really nice to see.
Yeah. Congratulations to Titus Burgess and Kimmy Schmidt for having such an amazing performance and portrayal.
We have your Chubby here for you to pick up since you weren't able to arrive in person today.
Or Dan or I will deliver it in person, whichever you prefer.
Gladly.
All right. Well, next up, we have another Chubby coming from our own Dan. What would you like to recognize?
So I wanted to recognize The Magicians, which is a urban fantasy story airing on Sci-Fi, and it's based on the novels by Lev Grossman. The show is created by Sarah Gamble and John McNamara, and I wanted to recognize it for really outstanding body diversity and fat visibility. What I really love about it is the show doesn't just show diversity, which would be great in and of itself. It shows people with different bodies and abilities and then showcases those, actually capitalizing on those differences.
Mm-hmm.
For example, there's a wonderful actress named Jolene Purdy. She's a big, beautiful Hapa actress.
Oh.
So it's
one of my people.
Yeah. So half white, half Asian. She's actually half Japanese and half Jewish. And on The Magician, she plays this character named Shoshana. What's important is that she does this great physical comedy in that role. That's not about being fat, but just being about her own self-expression as an actress. Another character that just came up is played by Zach Cherry. He's a big bearded man of color. You might recognize him from Spider-Man Homecoming. He plays the street vendor, like the hot dog vendor who looks up and says, "Hey, are you that Spider-Man guy?"
Yeah. I remember that guy.
And Spider-Man says, "Yeah." And he's, "Do a backflip." What's interesting is how he gets used in The Magicians is that he plays Frankie, this hacker magician who specializes in probability magic. So the main characters hire him as an expert to plan an impossible heist. And he actually directs the main characters. He's masterminding this, which again is unusual to see. Usually a character of size and character of color wouldn't be the brains behind the operation, directing all this, especially as a secondary character.
You talked about that previously about having, you never see fat people who actually get to be authority figures, or at least incompetent ones.
Exactly.
Or they can be competent evil ones.
Sure.
They can't be competent good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing about The Magicians is the character of Josh Hoberman, who's played by Trevor Einhorn, whom you might know as he was the kid, Frederick, in the series Frasier.
Oh, wow.
So
he's still acting.
He's all grown up now.
That's so goth.
And he's in The Magicians. And what's interesting about that is, so the character of Josh is he's the sidekick. He's the background character. He's the guy who supplies the weed. It's actually part of his character. And the show did this amazing thing where they actually acknowledged that. And then through a music video starring him, bring him into like, no, you're a main force in this quest that all the characters are going through. And it's really wonderful to see him go from a side character that sort of blossomed in this huge role. And, now he's, in the current season, he's dating Margot, who is drop dead gorgeous, played by Summer Bashir. And, her other name is Queen Margot the Destroyer. She's highly sexually aggressive. She can get any man she wants, and she doesn't want a lot of them because she's real picky.
Mm-hmm.
And she wants Josh.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to the Magicians for their Chubby Award. Again, we'll deliver it if you want. And next up, we have Trevor.
So I have to give a Chubby to Shrill, which Shrill filled the Dietland-sized hole in our hearts. Moment of silence for Dietland. Drop in a little the sped up sad piano music here. So Shrill is based off the memoir of the same name by Lindy West. And it is about a young woman played by Adie Bryant who is kind of, she's fat. She's trying to find her way into the world. She works at her local newspaper and she is trying to get taken seriously. And it's just kind of refreshing to see someone who looks like me on screen and also seeing someone who interacts in the world and goes through the same kind of gets the same interactions. She is at a coffee shop. She's taking a picture of a ad for an exercise class that she thinks is funny. And the woman is in the coffee shop and comes up to her and like, oh, there's a thin person inside of you dying to get out.
Yeah.
I can help you live the life that you wish you were living.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we finally kind of see this shift in her life in the 4th episode where she goes to a fat pool party. And it is one of the most amazing, I think, pieces of television I've seen in my entire life.
Oh,
because you see her go through this change, walking to the pool party. And she's so uncomfortable and she's conflicted because she just sees all these fat bodies that look like her and everyone's celebrating their size. Adie Bryant's, shifting. She's uncomfortable. She eventually starts talking to some people and they try to get her to dance. And she, they pull her out on the dance floor. She goes away. They pull her back out. She goes away. They pull her back. And the final time you see her just release and you see all of this tension melt away and she's dancing and just being self-expressed. And then, you see her go back to her friends and she is just full of energy, so excited. And she's like, I just need to get in the pool. And she strips down and she's in this striped bathing suit, jumps into the pool. And during this event, she's missing a mandated work exercise event. And she gets dressed down by her boss after that. And, it ruins this moment she has. And she goes home to her roommate. And there's this really amazing monologue.
I don't even blame her because it's a fucking mind prison, that every fucking woman everywhere has been programmed to believe, And I've wasted so much time and energy and money for what? I'm fat. I'm fucking fat. Hello. I'm fat,
Yeah, I wish someone would have said this to me when I was younger.
Me too. Because it would have saved me so much time and pain.
Which then inspires her to write an essay called Hello, I'm Fat and post it on the newspaper's website without permission. The episode's called Pool because, it's about this pool party, but we open up with her as a little girl on vacation with her mom, played by Julia Sweeney, who, once again, love to see Julia Sweeney back in the world.
Definitely.
And trying to get her to go to the pool. And she's like, oh, I don't really want to. And I have kind of felt that as a kid, being the little fat kid, you don't want to go to the pool. You just don't want to have that moment of vulnerability of okay, am I going to be in a swimsuit and possibly get made fun of? But so the episode closes with Adie Bryant going to sleep. And then we go back to her as a kid and it's nighttime and she sneaks out and goes to the pool alone. And it closes with her sitting in the pool, just free and at peace.
Lovely.
Wow.
And
the show just, picks up from there. It's such an amazing show. I don't want to give too much away.
The writing is on point.
Yes. And it's,
I will, one of the things I won't forget is the final episode.
Yes.
Where she confronts somebody who has been most cruel to her.
Yes.
And the scene, again, I don't want to give anything away, but the scene takes a direction where you see where it's supposed to go because that's the way fat people are supposed to act when this happens. And it takes a radically different direction that I felt was much more realistic to my life.
Yes.
So I really enjoyed that.
The writing, the cast is amazing. The writing's amazing. Especially the character of her mom, played by Julia Sweeney. All of just the little moments and, the little comments and it's so perfect because I think every fat person has gotten those
the Chinese
picks,
water
the little
torture.
picks, the little things, and we don't really need that. And Julia Sweeney is such a perfect casting for that. She is so sweet, but it is that I'm doing this because I love you. But so all the Chubbies, for Shrill, for the cast, for Lindy West, for the writers, all the Chubbies.
I haven't seen it yet, and you've been telling me about it. Don and Trevor have been telling me about it for so long, and but that actually hearing about that pool episode gave me chills. So I am totally sold. I have to go watch that. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Okay, Michael. So what?
All right. So I guess I'm up next. Going back to, I think it was episode 2, we were talking a lot about actors who don't get chances at actual serious roles to play. And one of my favorite things last year that popped up unexpectedly was the movie Richard Jewell with Paul Walter Hauser playing the titular character. I wasn't going to see it actually because there's all of the, sticky politics with Clint Eastwood, and I had heard that I just shouldn't see it. And then, of course, with how they sort of slanted the portrayal of the female reporter, and all of that's fair. But I want to focus specifically on how they wrote and performed the part of Richard Jewell, which was one of the most, like, I think, deft performances by a fat actor that I've seen, where they touched on real subjects, not just related to his body or his size, but also had aspects of that peppered in that were supporting his journey as a character and weren't just there to make fun of his body or make fun of him. His performance is subtle. It's funny at times. It's heartfelt. It has a build from start to finish. It is just a powerhouse, and being able to watch a fat actor playing a role that is taken so seriously and treated so seriously by the writers, by the filmmakers, you forget for a long time that it's anything but a drama. It's not a fat drama. It's just him doing this sort of Oscar bait role. And that's exactly what I had been asking for, a few weeks ago. And I went and saw it after we recorded that episode, and I was blown away. And I know Trevor and Dan, you guys went and saw it as well. I don't think you ever got a chance to see it, but
I mean, I had a lot of problems with the movie, but you're absolutely right about that performance.
Mm-hmm.
He is glorious in that role. And it is so moving because you get the character as a human being. And the human being is going through life in this body, and that has consequences in our world.
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many opportunities to where, were another writer, another director, where they could play. There was stuff where they could play it up for laughs, and they handle it so gingerly and so well. And I loved, so Paul Walter Hauser was also in I, Tonya, where he was stuck in this role of the Fat Joe character, but you could see his talent. And it was like, you hate to see when people get stuck in joke roles. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity for him to showcase his talent. And I hope we get to see more of him. I hope he's going to be in the live action Cruella de Vil movie, which I'm excited for so many different reasons, because I'm curious to see them spin wanting to make a coat out of puppies into a likable character, a la Maleficent.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
Yeah. But I'm hoping that, given what I think they're going to try to do with Cruella, that, he's playing I think Horace is the fat.
Jasper's the tall one.
There's a promo picture of Emma Stone as Cruella de Vil, and then, I don't know, the other Jasper maybe is the thin
Jasper's
henchman.
the character. Yeah.
And Paul Walter Hauser on a motorcycle. So I'm hoping we get to see him like more than, the Fat Joe character. Maybe he'll get to that's, these will all be stepping stones to him get to do some really great stuff.
I totally agree. And one of the things that I wanted to add to just the discussion of his sort of career and the fact that he's getting these big roles now, is that having dated a fat actor, a lot of times what he would hear when he would audition for parts that weren't just, playing the fat joke was, you're not old enough. You need basically people telling him you have to be a character actor, which means you're, over 45 and you're playing, like either a villain or a supporting role that's memorable or quirky or whatever. And he was always told that he wasn't old enough, that, like if you're going to play the Southern preacher who's evil, well, you have to be, 60. And the fact that Paul Walter Hauser at this time of recording is 33 years old and getting a starring role in a drama is fantastic. And I'm so excited to see where his career goes, because I think I, Tonya was a year ago, and his role in that movie was just...
I remember him in it.
He's literally every scene he's in, he's eating. It's just we don't see him not eating.
Every scene he's in, he's eating. And, you know, we can... I'm sure Dan and I will probably disagree on how Richard Jewell handled that aspect of the storyline, but maybe we won't.
I don't think
we haven't actually talked about this yet. No. So if I might take up a little more time, I actually really liked how they handled sort of food and eating in Richard Jewell, because they could have left it out. They could have left that aspect of his character out entirely, and I don't think it necessarily needed to be in the movie. But they did have a couple specific scenes where food was addressed, where they made it a character moment for him based on the story that was happening, and not just, oh, he's fat, therefore he eats.
Yeah, because when you have a fat character in any piece of media, there's always the potential minefield of, you know, them eating,
right?
Which is the go-to, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a long film. There's scenes where he's eating, but what I thought was great was he is not the only one eating, and the thin character eats so much crap too.
Right.
And you kind of get more of an idea of like, oh no, this is kind of a regional thing.
Right.
Or this is the world that we're in.
Well, I'll take it a step further, because what I took away from the movie was, you know, at the very beginning, before anything's happened, maybe you'll see him eating lunch with somebody. But once the investigation happens, and for people who don't know, Richard Jewell is somebody who discovered a bomb during the Atlanta Olympics and helped, you know, with a bunch of other security, helped to save some people's lives. And then the FBI started investigating him, and there was a news report that came out about him that started sort of slandering him, and eventually sued because he wasn't the bomber, and won the lawsuit later. But the investigation that happened just ruined his life for like 2 months. And this movie is about that. And as soon as the investigation starts, you don't see him eat anything. And that's most of the movie. He doesn't eat anything, and he's holding on to all of this stress and all of this tension. He's trying to take care of his mother. He's trying to make sure that the FBI don't hate him, because he's trying to be helpful. He's shrinking inwards, and he's becoming less and less of a human being. And I think one of the subtler ways they decided to show that was that he doesn't eat anything. He obviously in real life he did, but the movie chooses not to show that until the very end, where he finally gets the very last letter that says, you're free and we're not investigating you anymore. And he finally takes...
Well, it's not that he gets the letter and he starts eating. It's that he and another character are at a diner.
Yeah.
And that's when the letter comes.
They're there, and he literally has a plate of food in front of him that he hasn't touched. And then he finally gets news. And in my theater, people did start laughing because he takes a bite. And again, like, I think it's like what you said about Fat Thor. That's on them, because the filmmakers stay on the shot of him, and it's not about the food. It's about his reaction. It's about his emotional release.
And the thin character sitting directly across from him is eating almost the same thing. So it's not like not like the thin guy's having the salad.
Yeah, it was making no point about what food he was eating. It was about the fact that he can finally be human again. And they stay on the shot of him. They don't cut to other people laughing. They don't cut to other people judge it. They don't rolling their eyes, whatever. They stay on him, and you see he starts crying because it's finally over. And that was the point of that moment, I thought. I don't know if
you see I think it's a good way to, you could have him have a drink. There's so many different ways to do it, but I just think that a mundane thing is, taking a bite of something and then that release during that.
When you haven't seen him eating through that whole ordeal.
They made a point that he doesn't eat during the investigation, that it's not, again, I don't want to sell the movie like it's about him and his weight and his eating. This is like a minor aspect of what's going on in the movie. It's much more about how he's taking care of his mother and dealing with the cops.
Oh, I was picturing a hunger strike of some sort. Okay.
No. It's the filmmakers are making a point not to show me. He, in his journey, it's not about that at all. They are making a point to show that aspects of it, he's not being treated as a human anymore. And he is having to basically retreat into his life, and he can't feel human until it's over.
Yeah. And granted, that's an interpretation, but I think Michael's accurate when he says that the filmmaker is no longer interested in the mundane habits of the character once that investigation begins. And once the investigation is over and he's been exonerated, he can go back to some of those more mundane aspects of human existence, like, eating.
Yeah, literally a thing you have to do to live.
Yeah.
When I think part of the reason it just seems so integral is because fat people in movies, food is such a weird thing and how it's handled.
It's a landmine.
Like, and Richard Jewell did a good job because it's like, yes, fat people eat because everyone eats. And it's not like looking at Richard Jewell, how his character interacts with food versus I, Tonya, where it's literally just not only always eating, but he has food in his mouth.
And in scenes where nobody else is eating, and B, it's like we're doing like a walk and talk through a hallway.
Yeah.
But he has food in his mouth. Like it was just there to show that he's a fat slob.
In other movies, yeah.
In I, Tonya.
Yeah.
In I, Tonya.
Specifically I, Tonya.
Yeah, this same actor playing basically the exact opposite type of role. So anyway, I have taken up enough time, but thank you to Paul Walter Hauser and the writers of Richard Jewell, because I appreciated how his part was written, even though that movie has
I'm
other
imagining
problems.
Michael now cutting in like music over himself to like play himself out.
No, that happened like 5 minutes ago.
I'm not sure where that cane came from.
Anyway, all right, so on to Don. Who would get next?
All right. So I wanted to try to find someone in the world of reality shows to give a chubby to.
Mm-hmm.
This is not easy. Have you ever done a deep dive into reality TV?
I pride myself in not doing that.
No, me too.
I try to avoid it.
It's a good thing. Now, try to find a large person in reality television who isn't being defined by their attempt at weight loss. Right? It's difficult stuff.
Are you telling us that you found one?
I mean, I can think of like 2.
Yep.
Oh, that's 2 more than
I wonder.
I'm wondering if it's the same.
Like sealed envelope.
Okay, hold on. Is there a way to do this? No. Okay. Yep. Trevor, maybe text me while Don's going.
So, I mean, I touched on RuPaul's Drag Race, which occasionally has much larger contestants that are competent, that are treated just like everyone else. That looks good. But it wasn't really about them, right? It's about sort of an art they're presenting, which is fine. But eventually the only one I could find and feel good about is Nicole Byers on Nailed It.
He just texted me, Nicole Byer.
Got it in one.
Yep.
Nice. Good guess.
Now, the show itself,
I know nothing about this.
Okay, so the show Nailed It is based off the internet meme where someone shows the recipe they were trying to make. So like an ornate cake, and then the awful, terrible little stunted thing that they actually made, and they write Nailed It underneath. So on the show, they are presented with a cake, usually, there is no way people at this skill level could possibly make. They are not given enough time to make the actual cake, and they just have to do the best they can with what they've got.
So people who burn water try to make a wedding cake.
Yes,
Yeah.
Exactly.
What could go wrong?
But the show is constructed in a way where you are not laughing at them. They are part of the joke. They are in on it. They're doing their best. Everyone knows that. So it's actually sort of a warm, fun, sort of just a crazy little kitchen atmosphere, which is a pleasure to watch. Nicole Byer is a very large woman. And when you're talking about a cooking reality show, you're going to be like, crap, they're going to have her eating everything. And it's just going to be about her being so fat because you see all this stuff. But it's not. Everyone, all the hosts have to eat the food that's being put in front of them. Clearly, there are a lot of these dishes that no one wants to be eating. And they have to anyway. Her size is a part of the show. It is not ignored. But it's her personality and her size permeate the show. Her interactions.
She's made it a big part of her brand. Yeah. She's a stand-up comedian, and she actually has a podcast called "Why Won't You Date Me?" Where she's kind of
now I know who this is. Okay,
and she does, I think, on the podcast talk about being part of the round world on the heterosexual side.
Now, the show is not flawless for the larger audience. The show started with 2 larger co-hosts, and at the beginning of the show, one of the 2 co-hosts lost a lot of weight very quickly. The show handled it in a very nice way, where like it's addressed because you can see it, but it's not praised, it's not shamed, it's just mentioned in passing, and then they continue on.
It's just acknowledged because people are going to acknowledge it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's done in a very healthy way, and it's pleasant. Now, not only do I have to acknowledge it just because she does a good job as a host for this particular strange show that not everyone could host, but because when I took a look at hosts in general across all shows, where do you find another large one that's been picked to lead a show ever? She's the only one I could find. So as far as like being a trailblazer, leading into new frontiers,
we're gonna drop in another in memorial for Guy Branum's talk show, The Game Show.
Yes.
Fast, sped up, sad piano music.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It was a lovely show that I think it was too smart for the channel was on, and also they didn't promote it enough.
It's too hip for the room. It was basically, what if a talk show gave points to the people being interviewed for how well they perform on a talk show?
Okay.
And it's called Talk Show, the Game Show.
Okay.
And he was the host?
And Guy Branum, who is a beautiful, huge gay man, was the host. And there were judges, and it was amazing. And they would get points as they did the
Basically,
interview.
the game show aspect was you were trying to be the best talk show guest. So they were like, going into the tropes of like, oh, bringing a gift for the guest and then name dropping, but you don't want to name drop too much because then you lose points.
Right, having a show to promote.
Yes.
Not promoting too many projects.
Where was this?
It was on a True TV.
Oh, well, yeah.
Fucking. I'm not gonna. Reza Freza says it.
They've got Adam Ruins Everything. I like that one. So Nicole Byer nailed
Yeah.
it.
I think that's excellent.
Amazing. Well, congratulations, Nicole.
Mhm.
And Dan, sorry, who's your next pick for the Chubby?
So I wanted to give a Chubby to a company.
Oh,
And I was looking at are there any companies that are really doing good work in size acceptance or fat activism or just helping out? Because we talk about so often that companies get it wrong. And I thought of a lot of things. I thought of like Nike had those plus size mannequins. I mean, you can almost measure how much good they're doing for fat acceptance by how much hate mail they get from the trolls. So yeah, Nike took a huge beating over that. Unilever and Dove's campaign, their self-esteem project, giving money, talking about girls and eating disorders and body dysmorphia. I don't know if we talked about this. ModCloth. ModCloth did this radical move. They're an online clothing company.
Oh yeah.
And they got rid of plus size, not the sizes. They got rid of plus size as a category.
Oh.
So if you and again, it tends to be women's clothing, but like if you were looking for a size 34, dress size, you didn't have to look in the plus size section. You just looked in the section that had all the sizes.
yeah.
I like that.
They sort of de-ghettoized.
That's the first thing that came to my mind. It's like, I always feel like I'm shopping in the fat ghetto.
Yeah, because they want they want to make it real clear that, the fat sizes are over there where the freaks are, but the normal people you can be here.
Mm-hmm.
And yet that is not my winner.
Oh,
I think the fat Nike mannequin just stormed out of the audience.
So I was just, these are the who I was considering, because there has been a lot of good work and they deserve to be acknowledged. But I thought of, was there a company that really made a huge difference in people's lives? Like, it's great to show fat people in photographs. Did that change anybody's life? Maybe gave somebody a lift. But I wanted to give an award for Outstanding Company for Size Acceptance to Southwest Airlines, because that literally changes what people can do on a daily basis. That fat people of a certain size can get on a plane and not feel like they've been held hostage by the price. Or, if they can't afford a second seat, Southwest gives them that seat for free. And I think they were also the first, they may still be the only, but I know they're the first airline that allowed you to book 2 seats without talking to anybody about it. And I just wanted to give them credit for having changed a policy that serves everyone and has now become an industry leader.
Here. Congratulations to Southwest. Yeah. All right, Trevor.
I have to give a Chubby to Lizzo.
Oh, of course.
I feel like we've ended up talking about Lizzo maybe every episode. I don't know, a lot.
Pretty, yeah.
Liz, that was like, I did the Spotify year in review, and as I was going through, it kept being like Lizzo, Juice by Lizzo, Juice the album by Lizzo. But specifically, Lizzo is a tour de force. She's gorgeous. She owns her size. She dances and sings and then runs across stage and breaks into a flute solo. And her VMA performance this year was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm not normally a big award show person. I usually end up watching the VMAs because
Trevor,
the
bite your tongue.
I know. Except that's changed
Except
now
for
that I
the
have to, now that I except for the Chubbies.
I watch the Chubbies every year.
Yes.
How?
Everything about it was just so empowering. So it sounds silly because the giant inflatable ass. A full crew of backup dancers that are fat and beautiful. And then Lizzo breaks out into a little speech.
Let me talk to y'all for a second.
she pushes everyone to love themselves so hard. And I mean, I've seen people be like, I want to love myself as much as Lizzo wants me to love myself.
I love
I mean,
that.
it
That's
is
wonderful.
just such a powerful message. And she is just so dedicated to it and just really pushing, and I mean, getting so much backlash and still pushing forward to loving herself and wanting people to love themselves. And also, I mean, Juice. I could listen to that as like, if I could only listen to one song ever again, it would be Juice.
That's your Desert Island song.
Yes.
If I could add one thing in there, that something else I see her doing
Yes.
that I've never seen an artist do before. We watched a video that she made where halfway through the video, she's eating Cheetos, right? It's not a focus on it, but she's doing it.
Mhm.
The VMA Awards, the big ass she's dancing in front of, right? I've seen artists before who have been large and have continued on in the face of intolerance and been a shining example. This is the first artist I feel like is flipping the bird to people who've been trying to put her down. This is the first one I feel that's pushing back.
Yes.
And that made me, I love seeing that.
I was going to say that, I mean, I don't know her nearly as well as you guys, but in the photos I've seen, I love that she's doing that in her wardrobe as well. That she's wearing stuff that, she shouldn't be wearing, and she is, and she looks stunning. And it reminds me of that meme that used to be going around the internet of like, how to get a beach body. Take your body to the beach. That's how you get a beach body. And it's like, how do you look good in great clothes? Well, step one, get great clothes. And then dress yourself in them. Yeah. So I just love that. Just love that.
Unfortunately, I don't think Lizzo can fit the chubby in her little purse. That was also just an amazing thing. Did you see, I can't remember what, but it was on the red carpet and she had like, her purse was a like Barbie doll purse and she was just walking around holding it between two fingers, and it was the most amazing thing ever.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
I mean, even on the red carpet awards, every once in a while you have a larger actress who has such a hard time finding someone to make a dress for her.
Oh, it's obscene.
And then when she shows up, she looks stunning, but the dress is always sort of designed to conceal. Always. It conceals the body. She is not showing up in that dress. And I love that.
Or even, I mean, this at the Grammys. So she had this gorgeous, tight white dress that kind of showcased everything. And then her dress on stage was this gorgeous black jeweled gown, but it just was massive. It wasn't doing that. It was almost accentuating everything. It was almost that like pre-French Revolution, like showcasing size and taking up space.
Yeah. Oh, I have to look that up.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
What I saw there is she challenges people to take on the idea of what if you dressed as though your body were already perfect? What if your body were already perfect and that's how you dress to show it off?
Yeah. Well, I don't think I can top that, but my final chubby that I'd like to give out is more of an honorable mention because it didn't actually happen in 2019. Barely. Just barely.
As I said on our little spreadsheet, fuck the rules. It's our award show. Tear it down.
We can do what we want.
Send your complaint emails to me.
One of my favorite unexpected surprises that I did watch in 2019, even though it came out in December 2018, was a indie movie called Dumplin'.
Based on the book by Julie Murphy.
Based on the book. And it is just the simplest little story about a young girl whose mother runs beauty pageants in the South and is all about that world.
Played by Jennifer Aniston.
Played by Jennifer Aniston, who does a phenomenal job. And the movie is not all about her size necessarily, but it is about beauty expectations, how she feels. And she sort of has this way the main character does. She's, a young fat girl. And there's this one specific scene that I will always remember. It just stuck in my head, where there's a boy who's interested in her, who really likes her and is attracted to her, and she doesn't understand why.
Yeah.
And she pushes him back and pushes him back. And finally, there's a point in the movie where she's feeling really good about herself, and she's sort of building up to this great moment, and they have a kiss. And it's a magical moment for her, and he puts his hand on her back. And the shot is just of her back and his hand there, but it's as soon as he touches her and she feels his hand on her body, she has this immediate reaction to it, and it triggers her, and she has to leave, and she has to get out of that moment. And for me, as somebody who loves fat people and loves your body and how you look and how you feel, I understood that moment. And from my perspective, I understood how much of a minefield that is. Even if you walk into the date knowing that you're with a chaser and that they like you for who you are, it can always go wrong. And that is such a real moment for me. And by the end of the movie, she does come back and they do have a moment, but it is never said in the movie that he likes her in spite of her size. It's not explicitly said that he's attracted to her because of her size, but he does say he's attracted to her and that he, is...
Yeah, he's attracted to her and her size is part of her.
Yes, exactly. So it's heavily implied. They don't go quite into the issue of him being an admirer, but it's obvious that he's not saying, well, I like your personality. Like he tried, they were making out and he tried to touch her, and that was a trigger moment for her, and it's so real. And the rest of the movie is so well done as well. But that was a moment that really just stuck in my head. Yeah.
I think, I want to say that chubby chasers are familiar with that sort of encounter, but I think a lot of chubby chasers are oblivious to what that's like for the fat person, and that their body can be a minefield, even though, as you say, they're on a date with someone who appreciates their body. And if the chaser is not aware of that, it just becomes this awful feedback loop of what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And it just disintegrates into bad feelings.
Yeah.
It's such a weird balance beam. Because if somebody grabs me too quickly, then no. If somebody doesn't grab me enough, then no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Central to what I talk about is, what is it like as a chubby chaser to see beauty where other people see ugliness? But then on the other side, what is it like to be a fat person and to be admired and appreciated for something that you may not like or appreciate about yourself?
Yeah.
And that sets up a dissonance in relationships.
And the journey in the movie for her is that by the end, I think it's the last scene in the movie, she goes back and, they have that cute, awkward hello again.
Yeah.
And it leaves it there.
I've seen similar movies that have had similar arcs, but this one felt much more honest.
And Danielle McDonald is so good. I mean, she just does that role so honestly. She's funny, she's charming, she's charismatic. And I think that's part of what makes it unique is her performance.
I also think Jennifer Aniston does a better job than I've seen her do in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it gives her something to do besides Pretty Leading Lady.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so refreshing and explore stuff that she doesn't, not her as an actress, but that type.
And I think they do a really good job of going into a mother who genuinely cares about her daughter and loves her, and also very misguidedly thinks that she's doing her daughter a favor by pushing her to, look beautiful. And they walk that line, I think, really well. Mm-hmm. Like, she's not an evil mother. And they go into why beauty pageants are so important to her, and like that whole part of her psyche and why she's sort of pushing that on her daughter. And it's just a really beautiful, cute, fun, lovely movie.
And I have to give a shout out to Julie Murphy, who is always pushing for fat characters in, she does a lot of YA stuff. She just did a middle grade book about a fat little girl who,
and just to remind people, Julie Murphy is the author of
Dumplin'.
Dumplin' made into the movie.
Yes. Yeah. Which Dumplin' also has a companion book, Puddin', that's kind of, I think it's at the same time from the perspective of her friend, which may or may not be made into something.
Okay.
But she has a middle grade book. She's doing a YA book adaptation of Faith from Valiant Comics.
Oh, was that her?
Yes.
Nice.
And she is fat and fabulous. I'll put her Instagram in the episode page if you want to check her out.
Awesome. Well, I think that concludes our first ever Big Fat Gay Podcast Chubby Awards. Good job, everybody. I'll insert some applause here.
Yes.
Yeah. And the closing music, and the credits are going by faster because we've gone over time.
It's going to be the awkward thing where it's going to cut right into the middle of the next podcast you're going to listen to.
Right.
And the orchestra's fiddling away madly.
Awesome. So I actually don't know. Do we have a bit for the week?
I did bring a bit. I brought a movie flavored bit.
Oh, excellent.
Okay. So I went through the list of fat movies that feature fat as a primary component, and found some that are very difficult to believe. So I brought them in. I'm going to read them off to you. You can decide if this is a real movie or a fake movie that I've made up to fake you out.
Okay. So like last week.
Real or fake.
Okay.
All right. The biggest reindeer of all, 1971 claymation. Bluto, the largest reindeer, is worried that he's too fat to pull Santa's sleigh. The other reindeer play reindeer games to show him that his chubby body might end up saving them all when Christmas is almost canceled because of high winds.
That can't be
Only
fake.
aired twice.
That can't be real.
The thing is, as we learned last week, gentlemen, some of these are so outlandish, but no knowing.
You know it's fake because they want to show him that it's okay to be fat, and it's the 70s.
Oh yeah, that's not possible. You're right.
Well done. That is in fact a fake. All right.
We know how you work.
The Handsome Suit, 2008. A fat chef gets a magical suit that turns him into a literal supermodel, played by another actor, in order to earn the love of another female superhero that supermodel that he admires. Ouch. In his day-to-day life, he gets to know a chubby coworker, and they grow closer. Hijinks ensue when the suit begins to malfunction.
That's too clever. That's too
I don't
clever.
know.
I know you. I think
feel
that's
like this
not real.
might be a Korean. There's a couple of weird fat Korean movies, so I almost feel like this might be one of those.
I say my vote is fake.
Got one fake over there, one real over here.
Gosh,
I think it's
I'm so gun shy from last week.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I'm in this mode of like anything terrible is possible. I'm gonna because it does sound really contraptionistic and like Japanese Korean. I'm gonna say fake.
Real.
Damn.
No.
Yes. It is a Chinese movie from 2008.
How do you know these things,
Because there
Trevor?
is a genre of like these weird romance movies with fat suits, where it's.
I thought that was just me.
Usually one or both of the romantic leads are in fat suits, and either through some magical or supernatural means they aren't fat, or they end up becoming fat, and it's like a life lesson thing.
Wow.
It's my garbage brain.
Moving on. Dungeons and Donuts. 2003, animated. A princess must help the dragon holding her captive lose weight before the night coming to slay him arrives. Together, the two learn that love can transcend weight and apparently species. Princess voiced by Sarah Silverman.
No. Cannot be real.
No, I'm going with no.
I'm going to say fake.
You are all right. That is fake. Thigh Gap, 2016. Supermodel is made obese by her fairy godmother until she can find someone who will fall in love with her. At the end, she transforms back by learning to love herself.
Based on the title alone,
the title
cannot be real. Cannot be real.
I'm gonna say
On the other hand,
because of the
that plot is absurdly likely, like for a Hollywood film.
Ooh, but this could be another one where it's like another Chinese Korean one where it would get titled Thigh Gap because that's like the
weird translation.
Yeah, because otherwise it would be like, so that could be
the person with the outside legs.
That could be the localization. So I'm going to say this is real.
I say fake.
We got a real, we got a fake. Dan, were you swayed by the argument?
I've just learned from experience that my husband is always right. So
Trevor is
even when he's not, he's right.
But he is eerily right, especially about movie plots.
Oh, he is. And this movie plot sounds dreadful enough to be real.
And it sounds real, but the title sounds fake, but that's why it makes me think it's a localization thing. Because I'm saying real, Dan.
I still say fake.
I'm going to go with Trevor, real.
Okay.
All right. Trevor is almost always right. Thigh Gap is a fake movie.
Yeah. I got one.
All right. Fat Buddies.
Oh, Jesus.
2019. A martial arts extravaganza where a super cop gains 300 pounds after being shot in the head by a drug lord.
Oh.
What?
He teams up with an equally portly security guard to take down the crime syndicate that made him fat.
Oh, God.
What?
No.
How did he gain the weight from being shot in the head?
Well, yeah.
No.
I think what I'm interested in is how the movie makes it his fault that he gained the weight from being shot in the head.
No, fake. I can't.
I'm going with fake.
Got two fakes, Trevor.
I'm going to say fake only because the fact that it specifies 300 pounds seems like if it were just he got fat, but they say 300 pounds, I'm going to say fake.
Yeah, because in Hollywood, like he gained 50 pounds.
All right. We got three fakes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The movie is real. Chinese movie from last year. He is the shot to the head does intracranial hypothalamus damage. which makes him gain not only 300 pounds, but also narcolepsy.
Oh, right. Because fat people are lazy, right? Yeah.
Disfigured. 2008. A fat acceptance advocate tries to learn how to become bulimic from a bulimic when the man she loves decides to get gastric bypass surgery.
Oh my God.
I'm going to say real on that one.
I'm going to say fake just because it's it's so close to being too offensive to be true.
But 2008.
Yeah, but I'm going to say fake.
This hurts. This is terrible.
We got two fakes.
I've still
Where are you
got
sitting, Dan?
Dan's just crying.
I'm just crying now. This is terrible. I don't even know.
I don't want to play anymore.
I don't want to play anymore. It's too cruel.
I'm in the Kellogg world, even though I was wrong last week, or 2 weeks ago, the Kellogg world of it's just cruel enough to be real.
Are you kidding? That sounds like a rainbow belt now with all these horrible movies. Fake.
Real. Made for TV movie, 2008.
Wait, no, I don't win there.
Yeah.
That's not, it's not a good thing.
Okay, last one.
All right.
Chewing the Fat, 1995. A chubby high school student learns to cook magic cookies that make whoever eats them thin and attractive and becomes wildly popular. Ends with her reversing the recipe and feeding the make you fat cookies to the entire school in order to teach them a lesson.
I'm going to say fake because that sounds like a little too advanced for 1995.
I'm going to say fake only because I don't think they would have had, for a movie this small, I don't think they would have had the budget to get to recast a bunch of fat people.
Or to do that many fat suits.
Yeah.
Not if you're assuming they did them well.
Well,
No, but I'm thinking even just I don't know if it was
they
bad.
put them in
Pillows and pajamas.
they put them in snow pants.
Yeah.
I'm going to say fake.
Fake.
I'm going to say real just to be a contrarian.
Okay.
Fake.
Yeah.
All right. This is a special bonus round question.
Okay.
This was actually a relatively popular movie way back when. Plus-sized woman finds out it's easy to find love if she just moves to Nigeria, or she'll be a hot commodity.
When is this from?
2006.
Are you withholding the title or?
The title is called Fat Girls, spelled PH and ending with a Z.
Oh, that's what that movie was about.
I'm going to go with real.
It's real. I never knew what the movie was about.
Yep.
It's Monique, right?
It is Monique. This is a Monique vehicle.
She moves to Nigeria?
Hold on. I'm just I guess I'm shocked that that's okay.
Yeah. But again, the cross-section shows what we've been dealing with over years. This is the reason why whenever I see fat as a function in a film, I get nervous. So
That's why we've got the Chubbies.
Yes.
This is what makes the Chubbies important in this day and age.
Yes, we are so important.
None of the movies I've listed would make the Chubbies.
No. Wow.
I do have a tip, which I guess will be this is one of those awards that is given out during the commercials.
Oh, okay.
So I guess this would be a Chubby for
the technical Chubbies.
Yes, the technical Chubbies. And it's appropriate because it is the bidet attachment we have
Yes.
for our toilet, which me and some friends and Dan all went to an Airbnb for my birthday last year. And they had these on every toilet. And I was scared to use it at first because I'm like, this is new. This is different.
And you didn't want a geyser up your butt?
Going home, after the second day of having this bidet attachment at the Airbnb, I am I no longer wish to be a savage. I woke up one morning and I'm I am ordering these bidet attachments. So when I get home,
no, you ordered them for every toilet in the house.
Yes. I have thought about giving them as housewarming gifts to people, but it's kind of a bold thing to be here.
I was thinking of your ass here.
I want you to think of me every time you have water blasted up your ass.
Does it warm up the water?
There are ones that warm up the water.
Oh, yeah, you can get very sophisticated.
Ours don't. The first couple times you are whoo.
That'll wake you up in the morning.
Yeah. But you get, you don't really need it warm.
It's what the world's been using for, everyone else has been using forever.
And I got to say, as you know, if you're of a certain size and you need such an accommodation, it is a life changer. And just for someone like me, it's really handy and you save so much toilet paper.
And also I think everyone should, there's a reason that most of Europe has bidets because it's, oh my God, a clean butthole can change your day.
Does it have a
Now you're
bleaching
making-
attachment?
We have that on
are
the
in
wall.
Hollywood. Does it have a bleaching
Now
attachment?
you're making me have to consider whether or not talking about clean buttholes makes this particular episode explicit or not for iTunes.
I think if it, I don't
Does
think
your butthole ever feel not so fresh?
you ever see do you ever feel Don?
Not
Do you ever
anymore.
feel not so fresh down there in your butthole?
I feel like we should have tea between us while we're talking about this. And eating Activia yogurt.
I can ride a bike again.
Do they make
Anyway.
it? Do they make it for bikes?
No, there's no bike day.
Come on, the name just rolls off the tongue. It
Yes.
needs to be made.
well, I think that's our show for
Yeah.
this week.
I think you're right.
But I will.
Will.
Yes, but no, I will link to the one we own. There are so many different varieties. I feel like the bidet attachments are going to kind of be the new mattress thing, where everyone's going to have their own little bidet startup. Like there's purple.
Oh yeah, okay.
That there will be like the bidet version of that.
Especially marketing to heavy people.
What would the bidet version of that be?
The bidet
Brown.
revolution.
Ugh, okay, we're
Don.
gonna.
Get out.
Yeah, that's right. I went there.
Get the fuck out.
I'm in your head now.
So, Trevor, would you like to give us
Yes.
our social
I should
media
have done
info
the entire
before we
episode in this voice.
No, you shouldn't have. Before we overstay our welcome.
Once again, we are on Twitter and Instagram as @BigFatGayPod. We are on Facebook as the Big Fat Gay Podcast. Our website is www.bigfatgaypod.com. You can email us, bigfatgaypod@gmail.com. Please send us your Valentine's questions.
Yep.
We've gotten some great ones so far. I'm going to continue to remind people to do it.
Yep. This is your last chance.
Yes.
You get
Well, your last reminder.
your last reminder. We are going to be recording pretty close to launch date for that episode, so you do have some time after this. But get them in if you have anything that pops into mind. We've gotten some good ones, but no, it's in your mind.
And if you're listening,
Shut up.
if you're listening in the car, there's someone behind you.
And it's a butt.
Look out.